I'm the ESG data analyst at the Aston Martin Aramco Formula One team. So, as you may well know, Aston Martin's known for the design and development of and testing of race cars and racing in the Formula One series. So, Formula One is at the peak of innovation in motorsport, and it's a really competitive field. And that kind of competitiveness and innovation expands into the world of sustainability, which is great. And I'm very privileged to work at a team that is at the forefront of sustainable developments. I had a passion, like an interest for science. When I went up to my A levels, I chose environmental science because I thought it sounded interesting. I'd never heard about that A level before. And once I finished my A levels, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. So I went and did what most people do. I went traveling, took a gap year, and just seeing the world and the kind of natural environment, kind of deepened my love for sustainability in the environment. That was when I made my decision that I wanted to work in sustainability. So I went to university and got a bachelor's in environmental science. So the ESG stands for environmental, social, and governance. My role is mainly based on environmental sustainability. So I calculate our annual carbon footprint, and then also a lot of it is looking at our waste data from a monthly and yearly perspective. I'm also involved in looking at our legal compliance. So obviously the government has legislation that applies to sustainability and the environment and what organizations have to meet. So that's part of my role. Because as a Formula One team, we work mainly kind of as a manufacturing organization. So a lot of the typical manufacturing sustainability challenges we face are things like waste production, because we're manufacturing parts for two Formula One cars, but in reality, a very small proportion of the parts manufactured actually make it onto the car because there's so much development and testing. We produce a 60% scale model car to test all of our parts, and 100% of that model will become waste because it's not the right size to go on the track. So dealing with that amount of waste production is definitely one of our main sustainability challenges. So we have at Aston Martin Aramco, we have 7 main ambition areas, and one of them is circularity. Another main kind of influencing factor is energy use and electricity. We have our amazing brand new campus, which is great, but it also includes a state-of-the-art wind tunnel, which is extremely energy hungry, and that goes hand in hand with carbon emissions, because as you're drawing electricity off of the grid, it's contributing to the carbon emissions that are being produced from the power plant that electricity is coming from. So we invest in renewable energy. We have solar panels on campus and also have a renewable energy agreement with our energy supplier to ensure that all of the campus is being powered by renewable energy. And another aspect of that kind of energy piece and carbon piece is that because Formula One is a global organization, we have 24 races across the world, and we're transporting not only the equipment, the car, anything that we need from like a hospitality perspective. So they hold events on track, that all needs to be transported, usually via air freight. So aeroplanes aren't always the most sustainable, but also we're flying our race team across the globe as well. So innovations in terms of the aviation industry is something that we're very interested in. For sustainable fuel, we're with the new 2026 FIA regulations that have come out, the kind of model of the engine has been changed, and the fuel type now has to be sustainable. So it has to have a percentage of carbon reduction from the original kind of fossil fuels. And at Aston Martin Aramco, we are working with Aramco and Valvoline to create a sustainable fuel. It's very similar to kind of the development of other sustainable fuels like sustainable aviation fuel. Being in Formula One is a very petrol head led industry, and being able to have something like sustainable fuel that's so key, fuel is so key to this industry, to the races, having that integrated with sustainability just shows how far the Formula One has come, because the younger population, Gen Z, they're more interested, or they regard sustainability and taking care of the environment very highly, and it's something they consider significant in their day-to-day. So those viewerships of Formula E and other sustainable racing series are growing, and obviously as the generations move on, F1 wants to keep up with that viewership and hold kind of the large viewership that we currently have. So these developments are moving for kind of the betterment of Formula One and to keep it at the forefront of racing. In terms of material circularity, it's basically we're looking at whether a material that's either going on the car that we're currently using, whether that is coming from a recycled source or whether we're using kind of a virgin material. Obviously, the preference would be a recycled or reused material. And then after the use phase, we look to kind of see whether any of our waste materials can either be reused or recycled. So things like carbon fiber, we're looking at carbon fiber recycling. Even if you're interested in sustainability, you don't necessarily have to go down the geography kind of route, because it's such a wide industry. That's not necessary. We have lots of engineers who at the team who have a deep interest in sustainability, and they can contribute in ways that, you know, I can't, because they have a hand in actually developing, you know, they're material scientists, they can develop the recycled materials, and they know which molecules or the chemistry behind them, which is going to be, you know, resilient enough and strong enough to be used on the car. Something that is necessary is having a positive attitude, for sure, because this can be quite depressing at times, but you don't get to make change unless you come in and basically demand it and say there has to be another way, there has to be another solution for these things. I think my final thing would be having good communication skills, and one day I'll be working with the finance team because I need to calculate the carbon footprint, and the next day we'll be working with engineers about sustainable fuels. So having that flexibility and communication skills to be able to talk to everyone is really useful.